Mason Kane, thank you for 9 months. Hammers high. Welcome back. Boom. Let's check it out. Let's see what's going on here. Elder Scrolls Online version 4.3.2. It's got a number of bug fixes, various adjustments to racial passives based on your feedback. Excellent. Let's check it out. Dungeons. Okay, these are the new ones. Fixing some of the stuff there. We're gonna get at these dungeons more now. The one was bugged on hard mode. We'll probably be doing those a bit more before live. Check it out. So, combat and abilities. The Shadow Munus increased the crit hit damage bonus to 13 from 9. Note this will not affect critical healing. Wow. What? They're bringing Shadow back? Fear, you guys gonna use Shadow now? Fear Turbo's raid's gonna be 100% Khajiits now. I'm calling it early. Mad Nomad, 4 months. Welcome back. Thank you for the resub, dude. Wow. Boosting up Shadow a little bit. All right. Warning, it's not Toxic Tuesday yet. I know. Let's see what we got here. What's up, Gan? Gan the Impaler? I expect glorious info in here. Dragon Knight, Draconic Power, Spiked Armor, Fixed Issue. Okay, this was just bugged. This was bugged on the PTS. Sorcerer, Storm Calling, Summon Storm Atro. Fix an issue where the charged lightning synergy granted from this ability was not properly applying Major Berserk to the Atronarch that granted it. They are just as angry as you are and will now have their damage properly increased when they are mad. Excellent. I didn't even know it was supposed to. Sigic Order, Time Stop, increase the base cost to 8,100 from 4,590. Keep in mind that this is before the passive cost reduction from the skill line or the passive cost reduction from the ability rank up. Developer comment, Time Stop's an incredibly powerful ability that allows large areas to be controlled by the caster. We've noticed a core contributing factor to the ability's strength is the low cost, high uptime a single user can have. With this change, we want to ensure Time Stop is still powerful, but incurs a high risk of loss of resources to prevent it from being used too often. Cost is based off of our other PvP-based abilities, such as Purge, Rapids. As this ability is primarily best suited for PvP environments, we should continue to monitor the performance overall. So yeah, we had read this was coming, knew this was happening. This is for people. There's a lot of people, especially in the large groups, they just spam Time Stop. That's all they do. And this will kind of hit those people. I still think people can spam it, so to speak. Because those people aren't doing much anyway. The consensus I've heard from people, and I don't disagree, is that people in smaller groups that want to use Time Stop, it's become harder for them. Whereas the people in the larger groups that are spamming it, it's easier for them to afford spamming it to begin with. Overall, I think Time Stop has a couple issues. I think the slow's too strong. It also functions kind of strange. For example, I explained this a little yesterday, but I'll show it again since we can. But say, if you don't know time, here, I'll show you. If you haven't seen it before. But if you cast Time Stop, like that's, see the range of this ability? It actually hits there. But it acts like it's growing from the middle out. Like, it acts like it's growing outward. And ultimately, like say Hurricane starts here, right? And then it grows. Time Stop does this progressively. But the slow is so extreme, and it hits everything in between. And ultimately what's happening, if you're the player that's trying to get away from time stop and someone shoots a time stop at you, you end up having to roll dodge out and you're already using stamina. If you try to sprint, there's a lot of times you can't actually get out of it unless you have immunity to move speed debuffs, because the slow is so extreme. I don't want to make the thing more complicated than it is, but I think basically what I'm getting at is the slow is really harsh from the skill. Even if it's not CCing you, it's an extremely effective slow. You could be CC immune, and it's still a very, very effective slow. So even if you've been hit with time stop and now you've CC broken and they're still spamming it, you're still just crawling along. Okay, because of the extra effect it has of the slow is very strong, and it hits the whole area. It doesn't slowly creep out. I don't like that part of it. I think the whole move speed issue is something that they're not going to fix by the time this patch comes. It's a longer term solution. Time stop slow is one of those things to consider in there. It's too strong for what it does. Okay? That's my take on it. I think it's way too strong for what it does, having it slow. But I'll just go there. Okay. Racial passives. Alright, here we go. High Elf, spell recharge. The return of this passive will now restore your lowest max resource rather than your highest. We also increased the value to 645 from 525. Wow. The main focus of High Elves is their ability to deal high amounts of damage or healing with Magicka-based abilities, and the sustain passive was helping them stand ahead of too many other races that also deal heavy Magicka abilities. We shifted this over to a utility passive and slightly increased it. Board person, thank you for 2 months. Welcome back. Another one. That is a weird change. Basically, they don't want High Elf to be dominant. They don't want it to be your best go-to damage and still have the resource return. It's like a red guard on crack on the Magicka side. It's interesting. 6 short, thank you for 3. Just in time for the racial passes, you are. This is really effective for PvP. Like, huge. That makes them really good in PvP. Not for PvE, though. And that's what the change is targeted at. They don't want them to be a best-in-slot PvE unquestioned. Stam return on class abilities now, which is really good for PvPLs. Yeah, it is, EMAC. That's pretty wild. Yeah, Magicka, it's not just Magicka. Any Magicka really built that way, it can be very good for. That's pretty wild, because there's not a lot of... You have to understand, this is not, impacted by stats. For example, if you invest in Stam Regen as a Magicka guy to maintain a little bit, you're not really getting it boosted because you don't really focus on your Stam Regen. So you don't focus on passives there. This is giving you a strong, flat amount. What's the timer on this? Is it 4 seconds or 5, right? I'd imagine.
Bitch.
Either way, I mean, so they're still looking fierce. Pretty nice PvP change. The nerf was targeted at PvE, so they don't become, just the best there, without question. 6 seconds, okay. So that's 645 resources every 6 seconds. It's pretty good. It's like 200 regen, a little more. Okay. It's not a game changer, but it'd be nice. Yeah, that's, it's not a huge amount, but it's a little bit, and it will help them in PvP a little bit. So yeah, all right. Argonian, Life Mender, increase the healing done bonus to 6 from 4. Increase the health Magicka Stam Restore from drinking a potion to 4k from 3620. After the adjustment, allow flat stats to scale better with CP. We wanted to improve some of the bonuses Argonians so they could keep up. We targeted their healing done bonus to help make it feel more impactful for their identity as strong healers, and their resourceful passive to help highlight their ability to stay in the fray. Okay. So Argonian got kind of pushed back to where it was. Keep in mind their passive used to do 5% plus 5%. 5% overall healing, 5% self healing. So they're still considered strong healers at 6%. They're actually going to heal a little more, negligible difference, 1%. But boosting that is pretty big too. So Argonians are still a resource utility champion, only to be competed with through probably Nord, I'd say. Like if you want to make like a utility based character that does a lot of utility stuff in the group, just like I'm a tank that does X, Y, and Z support wise. Argonian and Nord now only because of ult gen, but Argonian's tough to pass up for its sustain, especially in non CP, I think. But Argonian buffed, yeah. This is an outcast. This one's for outcast, I think. Probably went in there. Nord Disruptor, yeah, I mean, they'd be good at it. It's an ult gen setup. Wood Elf. Hunter's Eye reduced the movement speed bonus granted to 10% from 20, but added a bonus to physical and spell pen of 1500 for the duration. We heard your concerns of adding highly powerful movement speed bonus tied to roll dodging as well as performance of this passive in PvE versus PvP. We wanted players who are focused on damage to get a small boost out of this in situations where they dodge attacks. I mean, they have really good stats. They already get high max stamina and regen, but and then they can get pen on top of it. I mean, it's like playing a wood elf. You might as well go Sench with a bow at this point. Or bust, because like now their offense. I'd be careful with that one, ZeniMax. You're tying an offensive and a defensive passive inside of roll dodge. You're saying no matter whether you go on offense or defense, you might want to roll dodge, which is kind of a pain in the ass.
Son of a bitch.
I don't think it's that good. As good as it is to, like, on paper, nobody wants to roll around in PvP like they're on fire the whole fight. You're like, what the hell am I fighting here? That's a wood elf. All right, he's doing barrel rolls left and right in front of me. That's it's weird. It's weird. I'd say it's weird. You forget it's for PvE reasons. I'd like to see the roll dodgers in PvE. Guys, it's an execute range. Start roll dodging out of your minds. Lay down some heavy fire. More roll dodging. More roll dodging. I mean, I don't think it's happening. All right. We'll see. I don't think it's good to tie both in that. Sench is statistically like such a good set, and it's not used a lot for the reason that it's tough to sit there. It's not a bad set either, because I think it lasts 6 seconds. It's 5 or 6. And that's a tough window because it starts as you roll dodge. As this will too. This is going to... I don't know. We'll see. Breton, spell attunement. Spell resistance granted from this effect will now be doubled if you are afflicted with burning, chilled, or concussed. Damn. Well, Bretons had been brought up with Speedy Race's first change. We still felt the story or unique element to be missing. We added a small contextual flavor bonus to their spell attunement passes to help highlight their ability to shrug off magical attacks. Damn. All right. Here we go. All right. Interesting. Dark Elf. I don't know. I don't have much thoughts on it. Bretons are already good resource management monsters from the last changes, so just adding a little tankiness, I guess. It's whatever. Dark Elf. Dynamic. Increased the max magic and stamina to 1875 from 1250. Remove the max health from this. I was going to say. So they removed the health. Previously, adjustment of Dark Elves deviated a little too far from the original implementation, we noticed. Okay, so Dark Elves are still... They're basically hybrid stats their passives, they get weapon and spell damage from the last change. Basically, they're boosting their max magic and stamina. If you want to make a hybrid, this is like what you should look at. Hybrids just aren't... Like, honestly, if I go hybrid, if I really want to go hybrid and I want to do damage with both magicka and stamina, the issue I start to have is maintaining both those resources. And it's not bad. It's certainly not bad. I mean, the damage is there. But the thing is, if you're like, I'm pushing damage, you don't go hybrid. You go hybrid for other reasons. You don't go hybrid for high damage. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I think about these things in PvP, and then I have to stop and think they're making a lot of these changes for PvE, too. You have to understand. So, I mean, they'd have decent stats, like 1875. Whether you go magic or stamina, you can flip back and forth. But Khajiit's going to beat both of them out, unless they nerf Khajiit in here, right? So, Dark Elf tanks, but I could think of so many other things better to tank with. I do Nord or Argonian. I'll manage my resources better with both of them. You know, Dark Elf is focused around damage now. Like, high max magicka stamina passive, weapon and spell damage passive. Okay? That's their big things. You know, it's... Like... Alright, this... Fear Turbo, what's the Dark Elf best at now? Being a hybrid? You know? It's cat season, finally. Cats have been dominant for a while. They're best at AFKing. Krotha's coming in for 21 months. Speak of the devil. Coming to get you. Welcome back, Krotha. Another champion. Krotha plays a hybrid DK. But would you go Dark Elf Krotha? Because I don't think I would, dude. I don't know if you got to... He drops an FU. What? Alright. Best at having both stats, which you can flip along. Max Magicka for utility, along with scaling weapon and spell damage. Yes. Yes, Fear Turbo. That was the most diplomatic answer I've seen from you yet. There is still a spot yet for you and a bright future at ZeniMax. You should take a resume in, brother. You didn't actually answer the question at all. You don't use magic in PvP as stamina? I do. I do. Oh, you're talking... No, like... They dip in the magicka and stamina pool well, which is very good there. The thing is, you don't really have to go into that a lot of times. Like, if you want to start dipping both magicka, stamina, and you want to make a hybrid, you start doing try and chance across the board. You do a 5-1-1 with Undaunted. And right there, you make out pretty well in your stats. And I would rather say, hey, I'm a hybrid. I really need to work on other things, like staying the hell alive, not pushing my stats out, right? You don't want to push. What I'm trying to get at is if you're hybrid, in my opinion, you generally don't amp up both sides of the table like that. You have to take into account hybrid. It kind of requires some heavy sustaining. And if you can sustain well, you can do some cool stuff with hybrid. You usually just run out of bar space on what you want to do. They do new changes today? Yeah, these are new race changes. These are flat stats, are boosted now. Don't get me wrong. This is a lot of stats. We're looking at nearly 2,000 max magicka, 2,000 max stamina, and weapon and spell damage. And not the weak stuff, like the full weapon and spell damage. They have a lot of offense in both departments. What I'm trying to get at is most people don't use both at the same time. That's part of the issue of we haven't been able to really flesh out highly offensive hybrids, because if you're pushing damage, if you're really pushing damage, you go for one resource.